Welcome back to the podcast called Tell the World. I am your host. Happy Tuesday. Almost said Monday, but happy Tuesday, y'all. So, how is everybody out there doing? How was your Labor Day? That went fast, but we in the month of September, y'all. This is crazy. This is crazy how the month goes so fast. These months are going so fast. We are going to be jumping into fall. Fall is coming. Everything's moving fast, y'all. 2025 came and 25 is going to almost be gone. We in the month of September. That's the ninth month? We left August. August went by fast. That was my birthday month. And now we are into September. How's everybody out there doing today? How was your Labor Day? Did you barbecue? Did you go swimming? What did you do? Because I'm hearing a lot of stuff going on during Labor Day. I'm hearing a lot of stuff like how in Chicago, Illinois, a lot of shootings. I know they were up to 50 people being shot. I know Trump wants to send the military there. What is this, the Coast Guards? Do he want to send the reserves there to kind of like patrol the streets and bring down some of the crime? Do you think that's a good idea? I think it is, because when it comes to lives, how can they be protected if the streets are not being protected? So, just something in mind to think about. You guys can drop some in that comment. I came across an article today, and this article was about Ron Artest. He used to be called Ron Artest, but he changed his name to World Peace. World Peace, but I'm going to call him Ron Artest. Well, he was having a discussion about 3 months later. They sold the Meta World. They sold the Meta for like $3 billion. Like, what? And he mentioned in an article that he made a bad decision by not investing because he didn't understand certain words, and I was like, wait a minute, what couldn't he not understand? So this is gonna trip you out. It's still tripping me out. He didn't understand the word equity. Like, he didn't understand, much into investment. It was just that he said he didn't understand the word equity. So back when he was 27 years old, he missed out on a big business opportunity that he still regrets this day. The retired forward talked about it on the 2510 show in December of 2024. He says, "My boy called me. Yo, vitamin water, want to meet with you." So I got the meeting and I blunted up. He said I blunted up. So when he got this meeting with the vitamin water, he said that he had to go to the meeting, but he blunted up. I was doing a lot of stuff for my community. That was the reason they wanted to give me the opportunity, he said. So they offered me an equity into the company. But at 27 years old, I know what defense is, meaning that he only knows basketball. He don't know business opportunity. He don't know how to understand certain words. And remember, y'all, Ron Artest was diagnosed as being bipolar, and so he had certain issues in the NBA with putting hands on players and didn't know how to keep his hands off. And he said he only knew defense. Then he says here, I didn't know what equity was. Then 3 months later, they sold for $3 billion, and I said, "Oh, that's what equity is." Honestly, I had no interest in business, but that's like one of those failures stories. So, it's crazy because a lot of these NBA players, football players, any of these athletes, within any sports, They know is sports. They don't know anything else. They don't know anything else. And sometimes, with college, and sometimes with high school, but most so with college. Some athletes don't understand when it comes down to business investments. I mean, we look at Tim Duncan's. He said he invested into something and he paid like $20 million into it. After he retired, he forgot about this $20 million investment, and the money just was just missing. He don't know what he invested in. He don't know what happened with the money that he invested in. And so a lot of times these players make all this money. They're busy. Life is moving fast. Things are moving fast. They're not able to think business, yet alone have somebody that they can trust to run the business. Understand the business mindset of doing business deals behind the scene of being a basketball player, football, being an athlete in general. So a lot of these players don't know business. Some of these guys, you know, look, education is so important that sometimes, that's a big factor for you after sports is over with, right? Especially if you're going to invest then. But when you're trying to play basketball, trying to get to championships, you're getting contracts for Nike, Converse, Puma, Reeboks, you're getting that contract money. You're not thinking about how you invest in your money. Or sometimes you don't understand how to invest. You don't do the research. You just don't know none of that. Some people invest and lose, but some people don't know. And right now we see how meta is, so they're doing pretty good. But coming across that right there, a lot of athletes, back in the 80s, they wasn't, you know, getting these opportunities as they would get right now. Back then, they were just getting those Nike contracts that was so important. Those sports contracts, those shoes contracts, that was important. That was the big money for them, more than the salary. But when you retire, where did you invest your money? Did you spend too much of your money? Did you invest? Do you understand investment? Do you understand how to get out there and invest your money and keep money flowing into your lives? You know, and it's amazing how times have changed because we understand us small business people. This podcast is on a LLC. It is taxes I have to pay, uh, but I have tax write-offs. Tax write-offs meaning I'm investing, I'm buying things, camera equipment, microphones, things like that. To you know lower my taxes. I can get into that later, but investing. So a lot of these players don't understand this. A lot of players just get themselves out there and just play ball, blow money, gamble it, and they're not thinking. Spending it in parties, so, I hate to say it, strip clubs and stuff like that, wasting money. So when basketball life is over with, what do you have to fall back on? It's like a school teacher retiring or somebody in general retiring. What you gonna do after your career? This is with anything. And sometimes when you make enough money where you can put in an investment that you understand, you're able to, feel good about your life, as in investing your money into something that keeps bringing you money, keeps you afloat, keep you balanced. So reading that article was crazy. He said it turned out to be they sold it for like $3 billion, and he said, man, what a, what a what a loss, because he didn't understand certain words. And that's crazy. You hear that when he said he had to be blunted up? It makes me think the late rapper Nipsey Hussle, he said that I make sure that when it comes to making business deals and going into meetings, I make sure that I don't be high. I don't be blunted up. I don't have weed in my system, because he said that you can make bad decisions when you're high. So I gotta respect that with him, especially when you're serious about things. And the new generation now, they're smarter, so they're able to think to get to the money. It's just obvious that they're making money now at a young age, right? So, they understand the business. So, when you're creating a business, and you're investing, you have to understand how this investment is going to go. Is it a good investment? Like Tex, Tex, who invest into new software, who invest into earbuds. Like Ray J, he invested into a piece of technology that he had that he sold. Remember, he had the Raycons, and then he ended up selling that. So sometimes, these guys, the new generation, they're smart. They get into things. So they build that business up that they created, and then it becomes an investment for somebody to come and buy from them. Because now the equity, the value of the business has grown over those years or a short time. Now you can sell it. Look what Nas did with was it the Ring camera? I'm not sure. I have to Google that. But he invested into that camera and a security camera, and it ended up selling, and he ended up getting like $40 million out the deal. Let's go with taxes, but it was a great investment that he invested in. So learning real fast things that I come across, I advise people to, broaden your horizon with your brain. Be around thinkers and learn, get involved, and learn about some of these opportunities, stocks and stuff. I had a friend who was telling me. He said, "Hey, I'm gonna invest into." So this investment was based on uh, organs, organ transplants. Somebody's gonna pass away. Uh, they have a list on the person who's passing away that they're going to be giving their organs away, and somebody comes in, companies who fly, medical flights. So he was telling me about the medical flights. He said, man, that's going to be a good investment because I'm looking at their stocks and the way things are going in Dallas with the medical flights. He says, I'm going to put an investment into that because it's starting to build up, and it's looking good right now. I said, I don't understand. He says, what I'm saying is that, I hate to say it. He said, body parts. He's saying organs are starting to be more valued, and things are moving, but it's moving in a legal way based on people who donate their organs. So I was like, wow, but he had read into the investment, the stock of it and where the future was going. So the medical flights were building up, getting more planes to go do quick transfers and get an or I don't want to say it like that. Going to get an organ or bringing an organ back, doing a transplant of someone who needs something to live, kidneys, liver, heart, all of that. So I was like, wow, that's cool. But if you don't understand it from someone who understands it more, sometimes it's okay to go look into it and understand investing. LLCs are so important because it's something that you create, and once you build the value upon it and stuff, hey, eventually you could sell it, right? Um, Explaining those things sometimes can be difficult for people who don't understand it. That's why I say broaden your horizon with your circle or people that you hang with. Like, if you're, business or when you want to invest, sometimes you got to be around those types of people and just learn investing, right? You want to learn investing. But that was crazy, so I was glad that World Peace, Ron Artest, I'm glad he shared that story about an investment that he didn't pursue because he didn't understand uh, a word, so he didn't understand certain words in business, so he lost out on the opportunity. What's that next topic we got? Let's go back to the release of the movie Back to the Future, the masterpiece, the film Back to the Future 1, 2, and 3. Wow, y'all remember Back to the Future? But that was a good ass movie. Well, they're bringing it back out because it's going to be on IMAX, and it's going to debut in this Halloween. Yeah, it's coming out. So come on, y'all. Y'all remember Back to the Future? I remember. You remember? Do you remember McFly? Do you remember McFly? Do you remember Michael J. Fox? Man, this was like an 1985 classic. Back to the Future 1 was so dope. Y'all remember the tennis shoes that Michael J. Fox put on, a pair of white Nikes, and he put his feet off into the tennis shoe, high top Nike, and it would adjust itself to his feet. Like the putting the shoe on to his foot, the first shoe he put on, that pair of Nike just squeezed and adjusted to his foot size. Dope ass movie. I love that movie because you can see all this high tech technology and high tech uh, um, games when they would show games and going into the going back into the future just to know who's going to win World Series and stuff, baseball games, football games, all these types of games, and you got this playbook that tells you who's gonna win because you're in the future and you know who won. But when you go back in the past, you can go back from the future to the past and make place a deal on what team is gonna win. Remember all of that? That was a dope movie. But they're bringing it back to IMAX, and it is always a classic seeing it because you can never get enough of Back to the Future. That's such a dope ass movie, and they're bringing it back to the IMAX theater. That's gonna be dope. Michael J. Fox is just a dope actor. I think the disease he has. I don't know if it's Parkinson that causes him to shake. He's been dealing with that for a very long time, but he has managed to deal with it. And I remember reading a story about his wife being so supportive and being there. So it's great to have someone there beside you to support you and be there with you, man. When you're sick, who's going to be around you when you get sick. It's just good to have good people around you that love you, right? So, big up to Michael J. Fox and the professor with the white hair. You know, Great Scott. Whatever you do, Marty, don't run into yourself. You will change everything in the future if you meet up with yourself. Dope movie. And what about Chicago, the Northern Lights? You're going to be able to see visible the Northern Lights, maybe visible over Chicago today. That's gonna be so dope. I'm thinking that this is gonna be probably where you could see this at. As right now, you probably could see it down there by the ocean, Lakeshore Drive. Yeah, Lakeshore Drive, where the ocean is at. That's where you go down there, and Lakeshore Drive is beautiful. I remember they used to have the Nickelodeon for the kids to go to. It was a great spot to go, family wise, and bring your kids there, like downtown over that way by the pier. Is the Navy Pier is what it was called. It was always great to bring your families and there and stuff, and they had stuff there. I remember Nickelodeon because I remember I used to take trips from Wisconsin to Chicago. I would take a bus back then, the Greyhound, and just spend my time downtown Chicago and just just walk around and go where the L train is at. And back then, I used to eat a hot dog and just sit there and watch the L train above my head. The people out there from Chicago, they know what I'm talking about. But yeah, the Northern Lights. I didn't even know that the Northern Lights would ever be in that city or that area. I've never ever heard of Chicago showing the Northern Lights from that view, that side of the world or state. I wonder, is that something different? Because I'm reading an article here. It says Chicago residents may see the Northern Lights on Tuesday night, according to the NOAA Space Weather Prediction Center. This evening is really a good opportunity for people to pay attention, monitor, and have the chance to see the Northern Lights. Man, That is going to be so dope. I wish I was there to see that. Um, is that is that just an opportunity to see it, or is that just something that's totally new? Um, so let me jump into this one about the Northern Lights. So it says here, um, the center issued a geometro storm watch Monday evening due to a chrono mass ejection passing over the northern hemisphere. The ejection, which is an energetic blast of solar material and strong magnetic fields, may produce the aura. So I guess this geo storm, due to the chrono, that's the chrono of the sun, like solar flares. I'm thinking, I'm speaking into the scientist mode. Scientist. That's why I got Einstein here for this. Did y'all see my new banner? I love it. Um, Pretty soon, you guys are gonna understand why Einstein is here with us. But yeah, that is gonna be so amazing to see that. Wow, amazing. So usually sometimes you can see that in Arizona, I believe. Or not just Arizona. I believe sometimes they show that in other countries. I'm not sure. The Netherlands, I believe, when you see that. Anyway, that's going to be amazing to see the Northern Lights and people get an opportunity to see it visible over Chicago Tuesday night. If anybody's from Chicago, leave a comment. Just let me know if you were down there by Lakeshore Drive. You saw this. You saw the Northern Lights. Dope. Let's jump into this here. This is going to be a little different, y'all. So, this viral that's been going around for about 2 weeks, they're saying that, NASA can see this light. It's not a comet. It's distant so many millions of miles away, but it's something heading toward Earth. The shape of it just don't look like a comet, and I'm reading that NASA may be seeing lights, and so somewhere on our post, y'all, like YouTube and stuff, you'll see all of this stuff saying that aliens are heading towards Earth, and it's like, is this serious? Like, could this be possible? Because there's a big talk about this, and I don't know what to believe. But from my understanding, NASA is not sure what to make of it. I remember the object that was heading towards planet Earth or past planet Earth. What was it called? Muamua, and I think it was a big story on that around 2023 that it was heading towards Earth, but it somehow went past Earth and kept going. So we're back again of something that they can't make out what it is. They assume that it looks like it could be some type of what spaceship. This is weird. I'm talking about this, but I don't know how true it is. But I've been seeing these videos, these posts, all these type of scientists and just small chitter chatter talk about it, and it's almost like they're saying something's heading here and it may be hostile. I don't know, because here on planet Earth people continue to live and it doesn't bother them. So I'm not sure what that is or if it's true. If you guys know more about it than I do, I think I've read and saw enough information on it. I just don't know what to believe. You remember 2012 when they thought the world was coming to an end? You remember when Y2K was out and 2000 was coming and they said, oh my God, you understand what I'm trying to say. So it's a lot of stuff going on planet Earth and social media, internet, and a lot of stuff that AI and a lot of stuff is being pushed faster. So imagine people's brains reading and seeing all of this stuff, all of this information. It's just, it will throw you all over the place, y'all. Like, trust me, I think just find your favorite book and reading that just keeps you more disciplined and keeps you more attentive to something in front of you versus a spaceship is heading towards Earth and it may be hostile. Oh my God, I don't know. Leave a comment, let me know because I don't know. Please share something with me. I wonder sometime about the world, you know, because the world is a big place, right? But it's even closer when you can go on your social media and just catch information so fast. It's just crazy how things have changed. And so this weekend, I went to go get this VCR. Only paid $35 for it. It's a the Emerson VCR, and it was so dope. It was so maintained in shape. It plays, and this guy, when I walked into his building, it looks like a farm. It's a farm shed. When I went inside, I expected chickens and cows. But when went inside, he had all of the old radio equipment, VCRs. What year does this go back to? Back in the 80s, go back into the 70s. He has well kept up radio equipment, stereos, recorders. He just has so much. And this stuff wasn't cheap looking at it. Like the Fisher equipment, I didn't even know Fisher had made radio equipment, but seeing all of this stuff back in the 70s and turntables, and I'm like, what the hell? So he sells these items. He'll put it on the marketplace, and if you want to buy an item that's in top notch shape, he sells it. You buy it, you go pick it up. And it's like I went back into a time machine to see all this radio equipment that he had, all this stereo equipment, turntables, speakers. I'm talking about stuff that was built to last. Amazing seeing all of this stuff right here. It was crazy. I didn't want to leave because I was so interested in learning all of the equipment. Now, back then, this equipment probably was, for our time right now, it would be considered cheap because right now, by its being kept in shape, the the quality, the history, the years, how it values would be worth more. I mean, from the stuff I saw that he had in my mind, I'm thinking like, he could sell all of this for about $2 or $3 million because it's classic stuff that you guys don't even know. Your parents know. Maybe people who mess with uh, radio equipment, turntables, stereos, they would understand this. People who love music, people who love to buy these devices to enjoy music, right? To enjoy movies, these devices, like this equipment back then that brought families together, music. He even said he had over 10,000 albums that he personally bought. What the hell? What the hell? He said, I have a Beatles record right now. He said, if I played it to you, you wouldn't understand if it's a good album or bad album, meaning that, is it in good shape? Meaning that the sound, the quality may not be that good because of the record itself, that he knows that sometimes you lose quality with certain albums. So I wasn't understanding, but I think I understood enough that he knows that it's not a good Beatles album. The album is great music wise, but itself he can hear things in the record that he can tell that I can't sell it for this because I know something is different about it. But in my eyes, it's a classic because he has it. Because if it plays, right? That's the difference between listening to music. Are you really listening to the sounds? Everybody know how the old record player sound used to make that on the record before it starts. It does that little introduction sound that you hear, that little sound, and then it jumps into the track one. But man, if he could sell that stuff for like 2 million, 3 million, someone would take that and turn it into an investment for a museum and make more money off of it. This is what I mean about business wise thinking. That's just my business mind thinking. If I had $2 million, I would buy all of that and take that and build a museum where people can come, where I charge them to come and see this equipment that they will never get a chance to see or understand. Amazing, amazing. He even told me, he said, yeah, so I had a guy that come out, and he came from San Francisco, I believe. I forgot what state it was, but he said that this guy uh, used to manage some type of management where he, whatever field he was in with Boys the Man, where he worked in, what field it was. He worked for Boys and Mans, and I'm like, what? And I'm looking like, okay, I feel like outside is a farm when I come inside, and you're telling me you know somebody that worked with this group right here who's on the charts popular all over the world. And it's like, this is crazy. He had all these guitars, 50. So one guy bought one guitar. He go tells other guys who love guitars. These guitars wasn't just any guitars. The investment, the longevity of this stuff that makes it so classic. The value of it, y'all, is crazy. He sold all 49 guitars, and he was left with one. And he says that one is really not whatever, but he still says it's still a guitar. I'm like, wow, amazing. I didn't even want to leave, y'all. I swear I didn't. It was crazy. But so I got a Emerson DVD slash VCR. Come on, back then that used to be some money to. That was the thing to have at home. The DVD and the VCR. Come on, who still have VCR tapes? Well, we got VCR tapes. That's why we bought one, because we still have stuff that's in good shape. Who still have this stuff? Well, we got it. We have it. We just need these devices to play it on, right? Say, check it out. What if the streaming go down? What can you guys watch? What can you do? You don't know, right? But this old equipment stuff here may come in handy, right? So that's how I was thinking. Yeah, you never know. Streaming may go down, right? I understand, guys. What if all the electric goes out? That's cool. Generator will last for so long, but at least I'll get a little. I could still watch something for the time being. You just never know if streaming goes down and you still got power where you could go to an 8 track and play some music if you got that 8 track equipment, or you have a VCR or a DVD player. You just never know. Remember, sometimes you got to go back. And once I was looking at all that stuff, I already knew that that stuff that they made back then was built to last. Look, coming to South Columbia, South Carolina, is a blessing, because I be seeing cars that I can't believe that is still running compared to the new cars that we all want to buy and be in. But when you see like an old Lincoln still driving, an old Mustang still driving, a old Thunderbird that looks in good shape but still driving just as fast as your new car, it is crazy, because I feel like I went back into a time machine. But I can understand here how the quality of things when people in certain states take care of their things. And I know sometimes the climate may not be too harsh, so that plays even a bigger picture of things lasting longer too. But it's amazing. When I spent my time, when I lived in LA, I believe 7 to 8 years, I noticed a lot of throwback stuff I would go find at these flea markets and trying to figure out who still has this stuff. But I started to notice some things, like I understood why these people still had it. So I'll give you the download on it. So I know a lot of these Spanish people were selling these things at the flea market, things that you guys wouldn't believe. Old Magic Johnson T-shirts and stuff of old NBA players back from the 80s. Just a lot of old style clothes, overalls, things that you wouldn't believe. And I'm just not speculation, but let's call it speculation. I'm not assuming. Let's just say speculation. I believe these people might have been maids who work for rich people. And remember, next man's trash is the next person's treasure, right? So that's what I assume. Why throw this stuff away when you can resell it? I'm just going there with it. That's my understanding about things. So I noticed that too. So it was crazy seeing that, y'all. Very crazy. The other day I did a show. What was that show about? The last episode I did. It was about solitude. And once I played it back and I uploaded and I listened to it, I just felt like I mentioned the quality of the mic, and that's why it's so intimate for me to do it in the studio, because I got the best mics to get the best sound that's coming out my voice. Sometimes I try to use these Bluetooth mics and they just don't work out well for me. And you're passionate about having a show, so you want to make sure that when you're giving a show that your mics are real clear. So that last episode, if it wasn't clear, I apologize. I think I may redo that show over again, because it was about solitude of yourself, and sometimes some people do go into solitude of themselves, and is solitude good? Yes, I mentioned on that show that solitude for me is like me going to talk to God by myself. I don't want no interruptions. I don't want to talk to no one. And I was saying that sometimes if you see people who don't want to speak, sometimes solitude is best for them. And it's not a bad thing. It's just sometimes people need to unscramble all the other clutter of other voices in their head, that they got to have their own personal space to clear things out, right? To think. That's the whole idea of thinking. Sometimes you got to get away from everybody else's voice and get them out your head to get back to your voice, right? So I always say this sometimes, y'all, when we're hearing everybody else's voices throughout the years, sometimes our voice get drowned out and it gets forgotten about. Eventually, your soul is lost because you know everything about everybody else, but sometimes you forget about you. It happens in life. So I did listen to that last episode, so I think I'm going to redo it on another episode. Or I'm just recapping it just in case. Yeah, just in case. Okay, guys, that'll be our times up for the show. Um, this is Tuesday, and man, Wednesday's gonna be already here. So, you guys have a blessed day. If you like the show, like, share, and subscribe. If you don't like the show, share the show to somebody else. That's fair, right? Anyway, guys, you guys have a blessed Tuesday night. Peace and love and blessing.